President Trump is once again calling for the world's elites to be above the rule of law, but in this case, it is something kind of new. He's exporting his corruption and lawlessness to Israel. He doesn't just want himself to be above the law. He thinks that any world leader he agrees with also should be immune from prosecution, particularly for corruption. So he put out this message, which is just, as you're gonna see, it's a long one. I don't wanna read all that, but I'm sorry for what happened to you, or congratulations. I don't know, whatever. No, I'm kidding. Some of it is about Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of it's about other stuff, and it's just way too long. But I'm gonna focus on the Netanyahu stuff. He says, "I just learned that Bibi has been summoned to Capital C Court on Monday for the continuation of this long running. He has been going through this horror show since May of 2020, unheard of. This is the first time a sitting Israeli prime minister has ever been on trial," which is just a mess of a sentence, dude. Can you do a second draft? Anyway, politically motivated case concerning cigars, a Bugs Bunny doll, and numerous other unfair charges in order to do him great harm. "Such a witch hunt for a man who was given so much is unthinkable to me. He deserves much better than this, and so does the state of Israel. Bibi Netanyahu's trial should be canceled immediately, or a pardon given to a great hero who has done so much for the state. This travesty of justice cannot be allowed." So yeah, you should be able to engage in a little bit of corruption as a treat if you're a hero, and he's a hero. I mean, even just recently, what did he do? I mean, he lied about Iran being on the cusp of getting a nuclear weapon and started a needless war with them that resulted in dozens of Israelis being murdered. So, wait, that's not a hero, actually. Maybe he was referencing something else, I'm not sure. But in particular, he goes on in that novel that he posted that Bibi Netanyahu was a warrior, like perhaps no other warrior in the history of Israel. I mean, look, if you want to say that like the soldiers of Israel are warriors, I guess it's at least technically what their job is. What the hell has Benjamin Netanyahu done as a warrior? Trying to pitch them as brave or courageous or whatever. Get the hell out of here. But I'm gonna answer the question of what he's done. What Benjamin Netanyahu did is apparently engage in a whole lot of corruption. And the thing about it is that Israel, in theory, still takes corruption seriously. America does not and has not for years. You can take $400 million bribes from Qatar or whatever. You can take hundreds of millions of dollars in bribes from Elon Musk and then literally give him the government in return. Israel, in theory, cares. And so he has been awaiting this trial. And now we're gonna talk about the different aspects of it. So in case you haven't heard about this, he's been accused of receiving more than $200,000 worth of gifts from businessmen and for giving regulatory benefits worth hundreds of millions of dollars to a telecommunications tycoon in return for favorable press coverage on a website that was owned by the same businessman. So this is just classic quid pro quo corruption. So you want money and you want the media to treat you well, and so you just give the businessmen what they want. That's just, yeah, you should go to jail for that. Now, it is a comically small amount of money in comparison to the corruption that Donald Trump engages in. I mean, you can sort of understand why Trump is freaked out about this. Like, if you can go to jail for $200,000, what do you send Donald Trump to Neptune for all of the corruption he's done? But he also really focused on the fact that it's been going on for a long time, and that is such a convenient evasion. So why has this witch hunt been going on for so long? Well, the trial's been going on for 4 years, partially because Netanyahu keeps delaying it. He keeps engaging in a number of different legal delay tactics. In particular, he's even using like his executive powers to do that. Many people have said that as long as the war in Gaza goes on, he can't engage in the trial. And so is it any wonder that they've continued this disastrous war that's shredded Israel's reputation internationally if, oh, what do you know? It's helped out Benjamin Netanyahu and delayed his trial from actually beginning, and delayed it really well. A verdict isn't expected until 2026 at the earliest. We could have had the entire ethnic cleansing of Gaza at that point. That's these delays of trials. That's how consequential they are. And even then he can appeal to the Supreme Court. And even then he can come to America, give $5 million for a Trump visa and then get a full pardon from Donald Trump or whatever. But anyway, that's the important thing. I just want to briefly, I'm not going to go through all these. Trump has still been Truth Social posting to convince everyone that the nuclear facilities have definitely been destroyed, which maybe they have, but Trump does not know that and is just lying and pretending that he does. He implied that the cars and trucks that were photographed around the facility in the days leading up to the bombing totally couldn't have taken nuclear material. It's too heavy, you can't move it. That's just not true, you idiot. You can literally put the stuff in the back of like a dozen trucks, but he wants to pretend that they don't. He said that the press conference he had yesterday, this is how he described it. He said, one of the greatest, most professional, and most confirming news conferences I've ever seen. That's one of the dumbest sentences I've ever seen, and it confirms that he's a dumb donkey. He then says that the fake news should fire everyone. By the way, I'm not even gonna be covering today on the show that he has repeatedly called for the reporters who reported on the leak of the intelligence to be fired. They should lose their careers because they reported on eminently interesting and important news. They didn't make up anything. He's just saying they're making it up. It's from his administration. Anyway, he then says, rumor is that they're gonna be firing these people. And that's the Trump using social media as a vision board that he always does. No, they're not. That's not the rumor. You're literally the only one saying that. You and right-wing media. Nobody is saying that they're actually going to do that. But this is the pressure that the president puts on media when they cover him in ways he doesn't like. And I point this out not for you, the audience, you already know this, but just in case Joe Rogan is watching, this is what Bernie was talking about. It's not about justifiable legal concerns. It's about a 24/7 crusade of intimidation against the very concept of free speech. And just, this is a random reference, but I just want to remind everyone of what our country kind of was like during saner times. It is 10 years to the day that Obama gave the eulogy after the shooting at a black church. 9 people ended up dying. This is in South Carolina. And he gave the eulogy. And you know the wild thing that happened during that eulogy? Nothing. He just did something respectful and responsible. He didn't make America look like a laughingstock. He didn't make all of us hate our government because such a terrible, corrupt person was in charge. He just did what you would expect any president to do. They were saner times. They weren't perfect times. There was a lot of bad stuff happening. Obama did bad things, but you can just be sane. And on that 10-year anniversary, Trump is calling for Caitlin Collins to be arrested or whatever because she was mean to him at a press conference. A lot can change in 10 years.
If you enjoyed that, then make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming a member. So you're probably wondering, why would I do that? Well, when you do that, you get access to bonus content that I make every single week, and it's a lot of fun. You get custom emojis and more. If you join at tier 3, by the way, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself. And you'll get all that going forward, but you'll also unlock years of the back catalog that is literally 100 or more bonus clips and top 10 lists and debates and more. So what are you waiting for?